Hello, my friends. I'm Vanessa Matthews, and I'm so excited that you're here today to learn a little bit about how to take better care of your shoulder. Because your shoulder is actually the most mobile joint in your entire body. It's the only joint that can move in as many directions, and therefore it is the most susceptible to injury. And if you've ever had a shoulder injury before, you know that it completely consumes you because we use our shoulders for everything that we do. So I just want to kind of bring to your attention that most of the time we only train the muscles in our shoulders that look really nice. So the medial deltoid, the front and the rear deltoid are the ones that make that nice rounded shoulder that look great in the summertime. However, we kind of forget about all of the little tiny stabilizer muscles that make that 360-degree movement possible. So you might be familiar with the rotator cuff because that is the most common type of injury in the shoulder. You have little internal rotator muscles that rotate your arm inward, as well as external rotation as well. Now, but there are also other muscles that are involved with moving the shoulder that you might not be aware of. You see, you actually have your shoulder blade with its muscles on the big bone on the back of your body that allows your shoulders to pull forward this way and allows them to pull backward. It also allows for upward and downward rotation of your shoulders. So your shoulder blade is actually moved by several different muscles, your rhomboids, your trapezius. So those are like your upper back muscles where you might actually feel a little bit of tension sometimes, as well as serratus anterior, which helps to pull that scapula or your shoulder blades forward. So we're going to talk about all those different muscles, and I'm going to help you to not only mobilize them, make them feel a little bit looser, but we're also going to strengthen a little bit so that your shoulders feel more stable and secure and you can do more with them. And then also just some stretches to lengthen, especially some of those muscles that are very, very tight. So I'm going to show you how to do a lot of these exercises with a band, but I'm going to give you some modifications just in case you don't have any equipment available to you. All right, so first let's start with a little warm-up mobility exercises. I want you to just kind of stand nice and normal and just start to swing those shoulders, swing those arms forward and back. Let gravity kind of help you out and just let them swing forward and back. We're going to go all directions in this warm-up. You always want to warm up your joints before you jump into any strength training or stretching, just to make sure that we don't injure ourselves. All right, then next what I want you to do is come out to the side. Same thing, we're just going to swing the arms out and back, just like that, out to the side. We're getting every single angle of the shoulder. You want to do each of these about 15 to 30 seconds, however much time you have. Next is the stir the pot. So you're going to bend your knees, hinge over from the hips, and place one hand on your thigh. Imagine you have a big pot of soup down here. You're just going to stir it. Another analogy I like to think of is using a plumb line. Just imagine that your arm is a plumb line with a little weight hanging on the end, and you're just kind of letting it circle. Let gravity do the work. Then switch directions. Feeling that weight actually kind of pulling your shoulder joint, just pulling it down to the ground. Go ahead and switch arms, always keeping one hand on the thigh. And in fact, you also would like to keep your core engaged to protect your back a little bit. Anytime you're in that hinged over position, it's really important. Switch directions. All right, we got all that rotation in the shoulders. Now we're going to just kind of warm up the scapula, the shoulder blades a little bit. So cross the arms in front, bring it all the way up, and then bend your elbows, dragging your shoulder blades down the wall behind you. Do it again. Sweep up, nice big open, and breathe while you're doing it as well. And one more. That's it. Okay, so next we're going to move on to working the internal and external rotators of the shoulder. So that's going to help you do this type of movement. Anytime your arm is extended and you have a rotation this way, your internal, external rotators are working. So I'm going to show you using a band. First of all, I have my band anchored just kind of at waist height. I have it anchored on my spin bike, which is very heavy. You can also anchor your band in a door, on a railing, or on any immovable heavy object in your home. So I like to also do this with a little towel rolled up and placed right underneath of the elbow. That just kind of helps you lock your elbow into place in the neutral position that we want to work from. So holding on to your resistance band, staying pretty close to your anchor position so it's not too difficult. Hanging onto that band, we're going to work the external rotator first. So you're going to move the hand away from the body and then bring it back in. Really, the only thing that's going to move here is your lower arm. Okay, the upper arm is acting as an axis point, almost as if like you have like this pin right here and you're just rotating along that axis. See if you can do 10, 12 reps on one side, and then you're going to switch around and do it on this other side. Okay, 10 to 12 reps is all you need to feel that burn because they're very small muscles. Next, we're going to do internal rotation. So you're going to place that towel on the other side. I'm actually going to take part of this band and put it behind me just to get it out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate that lower arm in towards the center of the body this time instead. So you start out wide and pull inwards. What you're going to notice is that you're actually a lot stronger on your internal rotators. They're just much more used muscles. That's all. So you're always using those pushing forward, rotating inward. So you can use either a heavier band, you can step a little bit further away to get some more resistance. Now, let me show you really quickly how you can do these exercises if you have no equipment at all. So all you need to do is you need to find something in your home that will create some resistance for you. So what I have is a big water bottle that I filled with water. So this is probably about 2 pounds or so, and 2 to 5 pounds is an excellent amount of weight to do these exercises. So you could also do this with a 2 to 5 pound dumbbell. So first, let's work that external rotator. And let me just get my microphone pack out of the way here. Okay, so to do that internal rotator, you're going to lie down flat on your back first of all. You're going to place that towel just right underneath of your elbow so you can just gently rest your arm and it's still in that neutral position. And you're going to take your water bottle or dumbbell in your hand. And again, this upper arm is going to stay still, only rotating as the lower arm rotates away from the body. So just like this, you might have to do more repetitions depending on how much weight you have in the water bottle or dumbbell, just to make sure that you can feel it, okay? So just a little tiny burn. You want to feel maybe some warmth in that joint before you quit. And then you're going to do the same number of reps on the other side, of course, switching that towel around. To do the external rotator, you're going to place your towel right on the top of your hip and then rest your elbow on top. You can either have your head resting on your hand or come all the way down here. And then same exact thing for the external rotator. You're going to hold on to your water bottle or dumbbell, keeping the elbow nice and still and only moving the lower arm. Okay, so there you have it. That is how you're going to do internal and external rotators with a band or no weight at all. Okay, next up what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of strengthening repetitions for the shoulder blades, or actually for the muscles that move the shoulder blades, so those middle upper back muscles and the serratus anterior. So what you're going to do is grab your band, and what we're going to do is called scapular protraction and retraction. So I have the band right on top of my elbows, on top of the arms, and then you're going to straighten them all the way out. Now notice I'm in a split stance, so my legs are kind of split apart, and that is just so I have a nice stable base, so I don't feel like I'm going to fall backwards. So from here, keeping those shoulders in a nice neutral position. So neutral meaning they're not pulled forward too much with scapular protraction, or they're not back too much. That's a scapular retraction. That's what we're about to do, by the way. But what I want you to really focus on in this exercise is not bending the elbows. If you were to bend the elbows, this would be a chest press. Okay, we're not working the scapula, the shoulder blades anymore. So start out with a nice straight arm, a very slight bend in your elbows, and then we're gonna just basically pull the shoulder blades back So you're almost like pinching something. You could, pinch a little like soda can or something like right between your shoulder blades. And then without any bend in the elbow, you're just going to extend straight forward. So notice how my shoulders move forward and back. All right, so here I'm already starting to build heat in my shoulder blades doing this exercise. So again, you only need about 10 reps or so to really feel this. Just a slight bend in the elbow the whole time. All right, so I have one more modification for you. If you do not have a band available to you, let me show you how you're gonna do this. I'm gonna do it on my bench. However, especially if you're only starting out and you're not that strong, use a table, something slightly higher. The wall isn't really great because then it ends up pushing your hands back too far and you don't necessarily have enough wrist flexibility to do this against a wall. However, we do want to be elevated, okay? If you're all the way down on the floor, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So, like you're in a push-up position, your butt is all the way down, right? And we're going to do the exact same thing. Like you're going to push the table, bench, or whatever you're using away from you just by pushing the shoulder blades forward. And then the same thing backwards. You're dropping your chest closer to the bench or table by retracting those shoulder blades back, pinching your shoulder blades together, and then extend and back again. Again, no bend in the elbow. We're not doing a push-up. We're doing scapular protraction and retraction. So much warmth building up in my shoulders right now. And again, see if you can do 10 to 12 repetitions and keep cycling through these exercises until you do 3 rounds, okay? 3 sets. 2 sets is okay. 3 sets is better. Okay, let's finish up with a couple of good stretches. All right, so we're just gonna stretch out the back of the shoulder where we just worked with those scapular protraction, retraction. Just bring your arm all the way across and just kind of slightly pulling on that arm, okay? Just bringing the arm all the way across. Nice deep breath. Good, and then you're gonna switch and go on the other side. Just a little pull across the shoulder. Doesn't feel like a lot, but it is a really great stretch. Again, we're gonna stretch out the front of the shoulder now and a little bit in that trapezius, that upper like back almost up into your neck where we feel really tight sometimes with the shoulder. So bending your elbow, bring one arm back behind you, and then you're just gonna kind of grab a hold of your forearm. And from here, just give it a little tiny pull, pulling your arm closer in towards your body. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my head away from that arm that's back behind my body. Okay, so I have a really nice neck and shoulder stretch all wrapped up into one. Okay, and then we're going to switch. So I'm going to bend the opposite elbow back behind me. I'm going to grab my forearm with that hand and then just drop my head off over away from that elbow that's behind the body. All right, so those are your exercises for mobility, strength, and flexibility for the shoulder joint. Now, it's a lot of explanation in this video, but you can do all of these exercises in 10 minutes or less. So go ahead and give these things a try and let me know how your shoulders are feeling when you're done. I'll talk to you soon.